You step outside on an ordinary morning. Same mug, same jacket, same path to the feeder, the one you've walked so many times your feet know it without thinking. The yard is quiet, cool, the kind of morning that feels like nothing is happening. But something is. Before you reach the back door, before you even picked up the seed container, the birds in your yard were already watching you. Not casually, not the way background animals notice passing movement. They were watching you the way something watches when it already knows who you are. And today, we're going to talk about what they know, the moment you stop being background. Most people think of feeding birds as a simple, one-directional act. You put food out, birds come to eat. The transaction ends there, and the birds return to a wild world that has nothing to do with you. That's not what's happening. The moment you began feeding birds consistently, the same spot, the same general time, the same routine, you stopped being scenery. You became part of their survival map. Birds are not casual observers of their environment. They are constant, precise readers of it. Every morning, every movement, every sound and pattern in a territory gets processed and filed. Because for a small bird, the difference between a safe environment and a dangerous one is the difference between surviving the day and not. And after enough mornings, after enough times watching you walk the same path, open the same door, reach for the same feeder, the birds stop reacting to you randomly. They start anticipating you. They know your schedule. Think about the birds that come to your feeder most reliably. Chickadees, house finches, tufted titmice. Small, quick, always watching. Within days of a consistent feeding routine, these birds begin learning the pattern, not in a vague, general way. Specifically, they learn when your back door opens. They learn the sound of the seed container. They learn which lights turning on in the morning mean the feeder is about to be filled, and they adjust accordingly. Researchers studying feeder birds have documented what most regular bird feeders eventually notice themselves. The birds start arriving before you do, not as you approach the feeder. Before. They are already in position, on the nearby branches, on the fence, on the roof edge just above, waiting for something they have learned is about to happen. Part of their day has quietly organized itself around your behavior. That's not random wildlife passing through. That's a learned expectation, a prediction, built from weeks of observation that you probably weren't aware was happening. But timing is only the beginning. They know you specifically. Here is where the story deepens. Birds are not simply recognizing that a human is present. Research has shown repeatedly, most notably in studies involving crows at the University of Washington, that many bird species can identify individual people, not by clothing or size or general shape, by face, by the specific combination of features that makes one human distinct from another. The birds in your yard do not see a generic person filling a feeder. They see you. They recognize your particular way of moving. Your walking pace, the way you carry your weight, the colors you tend to wear. Over time, they build what researchers describe as an individual recognition profile, a mental file specific to you that tells them exactly who is approaching and exactly what that person's presence has historically meant. Safe, reliable, known. The birds in your yard are not waiting for a human to arrive. They are waiting for you. You are not anonymous to them. You haven't been for a long time. They read your mood. Now the story becomes something a little more unusual. Birds read body language with extraordinary precision. It is, again, a survival skill, the ability to detect tension, urgency, and unusual behavior in other creatures before that behavior becomes a direct threat. A predator moving slowly looks different from a predator about to strike. A calm human walking a familiar path looks different from a startled one moving quickly and unpredictably. Your birds know the difference. On mornings when you move through the yard at your normal, unhurried pace, the alarm calls stay low. The birds continue feeding, continue foraging, continue their ordinary activity around you. Your presence has been categorized, known, predictable, safe. On mornings when you're rushed, moving faster than usual, changing your path, making sharp, unexpected movements, the response in the yard shifts. Birds move to higher branches. Contact calls change. The invisible tension that runs through the flock registers your altered energy before you've consciously expressed it to anyone. They're reading signals you barely notice about yourself. Your mood enters the yard before your words do. The map they carry. Inside the small, dense brain of a bird that visits your yard regularly, there is something that functions like a map. Your feeder is on it. The dense shrub near the fence that provides cover, that's on it. The window that reflects sky, making it a collision hazard, that's on it. The spot where a cat tends to move through in the afternoon, that's on it. Your usual walking route, your back door, the path to the shed, the part of the yard where you sit on weekends, all of it is part of a detailed spatial model that the bird is constantly maintaining and updating. Your daily routine is a fixed feature in that map. When migrating birds pass through and observe the local birds reacting calmly around a specific human figure, they absorb that information. The calm behavior of local birds is itself a signal. This particular human, in this particular yard, is not a threat. Some researchers believe this social transmission of safety information is part of how birds quickly orient to a new environment, not just through their own observation, but by reading how the resident birds respond. You have become a landmark, not just in one bird's map, possibly in many, the reversal. Now let's stop for a moment, because there's something in all of this that takes a while to fully settle. You thought you were observing nature. You stepped outside with your coffee, you watched the birds come and go, you noticed the ones you recognized, and felt a quiet pleasure in their presence. You were the one watching. They were the ones being watched. But the relationship was never that simple. While you were watching them, they were watching you. While you were learning their names and markings, they were learning your face. While you were fitting them into your understanding of the world, they were fitting you into theirs. The backyard was never a place where you watched wildlife from the outside. It was a shared system. It has been, from the very first morning you walked out with a handful of seed. You just didn't know your role in it yet. The next time you walk outside. Tomorrow morning, same as always. But before you reach the feeder, stop. Just for a moment. Look at the branches nearby. The fence line. The telephone wire above the yard. They're already there. They were there before you came out. They knew you were coming. Tiny brains, extraordinary precision, weeks or months of careful attention. All of it quietly focused on the person who comes outside every morning and fills the feeder and goes back inside without ever looking up. You thought you were just feeding birds, but they've been learning you too. What do you think the birds in your yard already know about you? Leave it in the comments. I'd genuinely like to know what you've noticed.